reflected that, and in fact, it started a political movement to clean up the town of Rye, which frankly has resulted in your election, Mr. Supervisor, and Mr. Villanova's election, because those of us in Rybrook were so appalled by what we found that seemed to be the only choice. To get honest numbers, to do a coterminous report, we needed an honest administration, and we didn't have one. And I want that to be clear. This was not a group of ad hoc citizens. We were appointed. We worked very hard. We spent months on it. I have a copy of the report if anyone would like to see it. I have it electronically, and I'll email it to anyone who wants to see it. This was a good report, hampered by bad government at the time. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Huber. Well, I can confirm it's actually quite interesting that that report in many ways led to the change in the composition of this board. And I remember using that report and some of the quotations from it prior to taking office. And in fact, wouldn't it be interesting that that effort started in 2004 led to ultimately to the dissolution of the town of Rye. But thank you for your comments and clarifications. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Oh, sorry, I apologize, please, I'm sorry. You've been waiting patiently all evening long, I'm sorry. Could you state your name and address for the record?
Allison Thresher, 74 Perry Avenue, Port Chester, New York. I think I'm presenting my proposal at the right time. I've been trying to figure out between Village of Rybrook, Town of Rye, Village of Port Chester, the dynamics and who oversees what. Okay. I'm here for Friends of Crawford, and specifically to address the parking issue, which I know now may take a second seat because of obviously the damage, which is tremendous up at Crawford. But the parking issue, which I know is being addressed by the town of Rye, and quite frankly, I think pressure should be put on the Village of Rybrook because of Rye Hills Park, which Rye Hills Park clearly on their website states to go park at Crawford. And there is the park, Elm Hill, if you can call it a park. I still don't understand all the definitions, which again, from my study, which has cost no taxpayers any money, watching and looking, I think would be very minimal in disruption during the summer months because there's a lot of foliage there, and you really wouldn't see the overflow parking. And I know the Village of Rybrook has been approached. Mayor Feinstein, Laura Klein, President of Friends of Crawford, has written her letter. It has been discussed at our meetings with Bishop. I don't know if it's, on the town level, if it's being taken further. But quite frankly, if Village of Rybrook does not seem amenable to having, the overflow parking at Elm Hill, I think the town of Rye should say, okay, thank you very much. You figure out your own parking at Rye Hills and not to come over to us. I did go down to the Village of Rybrook and I spoke to Chris Bradbury, David, and I forget the name of the woman there, Stephanie, I think her name is. And no one could tell me when Rye Hills Park was set up that if there was any stipulation about the parking. And that's all I would say, that I think some pressure could be put on the Village of Rybrook.
Well, thank you for your comments. Councilman Mendocino has been at the forefront of trying to get us to get the change in parking at Crawford Park. And I think we have a traffic engineer currently doing a study, correct? Yes. And so we're moving very forward. And when are we going to get the results of that study, by the way?
We were promised for the April meeting.
Okay, so we'll have for our next meeting the results of that study and a presentation from the traffic engineer.
But I mean, I think one way or another, pressure should be put on Village of Rybrook to either help out and allow Elm Hill or Town of Rye tell Village of Rybrook find their own parking.
Well, Elm Hill, there's Rybrook is suggesting that they contribute Elm Hill to us in exchange for some provision at the Rye Town parking garage. Do we ever get where do we leave that? I know we talked about that, but They were gonna come back to us, or what was,
They have not come back to us with any kind of offer or proposal.
were we supposed to value the garage again, or actually, but if we do this,
The garage was valued in '07. I think you have a report.
don't we have to value it every year? Presumably, we have to assess the
No, well, we had an
value.
appraisal,
Oh, an appraisal.
in '07.
Could we, just, Mr. Markowitz, I know you have a lot on your plate that we talked about today, but if it would be interesting just to take a quick look at that appraisal and our current assessed value for the garage.
Yes.
And that's what it was. We had to get an appraisal for Elm Hill. What was the worth of Elm Hill versus the worth of the garage? And it seemed as if there'd be a significant disparity, and so then that's the issue. But I will follow up.
But I think you have an additional
Lever, yeah, I don't,
ammunition.
yeah, I don't usually like to tell other municipalities to
I understand.
take it or leave it, but I understand what you're saying.
You know,
Yeah.
frustrating.
Thanks so much,
you.
thank you. Thanks so much for staying to give us your comments. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Town constable. Who wants to take this?
I would like to see that next.
Please.
Because this is the third month in a row that I've received in my packet a resolution to appoint this gentleman who I have no idea who he is, number one, and what his qualifications are, number two. And last time we discussed whether or not we have a space for an additional constable, and I don't see an answer to that question yet. I know the
We
town
do.
attorney did send us an email, but
May I?
Please.
Okay, yeah, we have exchanged some emails. Basically, the town law, it's a little unclear as it applies to the town of Rye, because we are an unusual entity in that we don't have our own police department. But under the town law, a town may have as many town policemen as such other employees as the town may determine necessary for the proper conduct of the affairs of the town. That's if you do not have a police department. In any town in which a town police department has been established, or which town is part of a county police district, the town board may appoint not more than 4 civil officers. So we don't fall into either category clearly. We do not have a police department. However, we don't have any jurisdiction, meaning the Rye Brook police cover Rye Brook, the Portchester police cover Portchester, the Mamaroneck police cover Mamaroneck. So we are fully covered with police, but the town has no police department. We are part of a county that has a county police department, but it's not a county police district. And the county police only patrol the parkways, as you all know. So you're going to ask me, how many can we have? I would say this. There is absolutely no provision here for a penalty if you had more than 4. So I think that, given that you don't have a town police department, you could probably have more than 4 if you wanted to, if you felt that was necessary for the administration of the town.
What does a town constable do?
They basically serve papers, they process servers. They serve eviction notices.
And who are our current town
And they can be hired privately by attorneys to serve summonses on people and get paid for that.
And who are our current town constables?
I don't know who they are. Bishop would know, I think.
we have,
I don't have the
Steve
entire
Carroll.
list. I know that
we have
Steve
Don
Carroll is
Mayo,
one, Donald Mayo is another.
DeLeo, Jay DeLeo.
Not
Dean
familiar.
DeLeo, excuse me. Dean
I'm
DeLeo.
not familiar with that.
And another gentleman from Rhine
Right.
O'Connell.
Mioli? Is it Mioli?
No, it's a gentleman from Rhinebeck, O'Connell, something. So we have those 4 in there.
Does anybody know who they are?
O'Donnell?
I know.
No.
He's great. I don't know.
Not Jerry.
Gentleman from Rhinebeck.
Okay, and who are we putting on this evening?
Well, that was the question. When I first brought this up, I had proposed to put Mr. Sagani on, and I actually have a resume from him.
Right.
And then you said we would discuss it, and then at the next meeting, all of a sudden, I get a resolution to
Right.
put Mr. Sprague on, and I said, well, where did that come from?
Yeah, well, that's, I think it came from Deputy Councilman Malone.
Yeah,
Hold
okay.
on, before we talk about him. I think, to be fair, Deputy Supervisor Malone wasn't at the last meeting. where we, I think,